Hi, I'm Mike Smith. For my final project, I choose to research the trailer manufacturing industry. The reason I chose this industry is because my family owns a small manufacturing company that actually manufactures side dump trailers. So I thought it would be interesting to take a closer look at the economics and some of the concepts that go into this industry, just so I have a better understanding of what to look for and how this industry is affected by these changes. So the main three economic concepts I'm going to really look at. The first one is price elasticity of demand. Now that's going to include the substitute goods that go into that, the pricing of the product that affects that, and then how long a customer has for a time frame to actually make the purchase. Then the second one I'm going to look at is the long-term production function, and specifically within that I'm really going to look at some of the input substitutes. That will include just like the price of the inputs and just other factors that would include there. And then finally, I'm going to look at some of the pricing strategies. And through my research, I found that there was really two main pricing strategies that stood out. So I wanted to take a closer, in-depth look at those. So I'm going to specifically be looking at the markup pricing and then the price discrimination that goes into the pricing of these individual trailers throughout the market. Now, the trailer industry as a whole is really a big player in the economy. Manufacturing has always been a long time component when it comes to the economy. So naturally, the trailer industry is a big part of that. It really has been it really goes with the flows of the economy as well. When there is a recession, trailer manufacturing is hit pretty hard, as it is one of the big driving industries of our economy. And so when there's a recession, there's definitely a fallback in trailer production, as was seen in 2008. That was during the so-called Great Recession. There was definitely a drop in trailer sales that year. But ever since then, trailer production has really been on the rise as our economy has started coming back, along with the housing market. And that has led to many new companies entering the market. So there's been a lot of increase in competition over the years now. Just different manufacturers manufacturing different trailers. There used to be only the end dump trailer, which is a trailer that would dump straight out the back. It has grown to progress into there are a lot of belly dumps and side dumps. And then within those different industries, there's also specific different specializations for different hauling materials, whether you want to haul riprap or rock, or maybe it's even a waste. Many companies are starting to specialize in a certain area that they can grab a hold of the market share and have a niche in that area. And the main industries that these have started to affect are the construction, mining, and agriculture industries. Now, construction industry, that's mostly hauling landscaping material, but it also could include building materials and hauling away mostly demolition. Anytime a building needs to be destroyed, there's a lot of times you'll see these types of trailers moving the rubble away from the construction site. And then the mining industry has really taken off in recent years, and they have needed many special trailers to get in and around their mines and be able to haul large quantities of material that may not be suited for a normal trailer. And then agriculture is an interesting industry just because they have so many different regulations and variables in there that it takes some time to come up with a special trailer for that industry, so they are able to get on the breaking edge and use this material to their advantage. The first economic concept I wanted to look at was price elasticity of demand. Now, the main thing with this are the substitute goods. Now, with an increase in these substitute goods, as I had mentioned earlier, it used to start with just end dumps. Now we've gone from end dumps to side dumps, belly dumps, and many numerous specialized trailers. This has caused a shift in the demand curve to the right side more. Now, this shift to the right in the demand curve has allowed some companies to start charging higher prices in recent years, especially since 2005. 2001, there was a huge drop in the economy, especially with the towers going down. That caused a lot of companies to suffer, but they slowly started to pick back up. In 2005 and 2006, there was a large boom in trailer sales, which allowed companies to start charging a little higher prices. Well, as we started to go into the recession of 2007, 2008, that really didn't change the price that many manufacturers are now expecting to get So they did lose some quantity at that time. But as we started to come out of that and see some economic growth, more consumers are starting to willing to pay that new price. And so the quantity is picking up, and it's just moved that demand curve completely to the right. So companies are really starting to buy up that demand. In some research articles in 2014, there was an increase in trailer production of 13%. That's the highest it's been since 2006, when there was really the economic push. So that is a good sign for the trailer manufacturing industry that it'll see continued growth here. Now, so there, not only within the industry though are these substitute goods within the industry, you have to look outside the industry at maybe possible railroads, marine vessels, and aircrafts. These are different modes of transportation that companies can use to haul any of their materials. So this is also competition, and also causes a more elastic demand throughout the industry, and it just gives consumers more options that they need. Now this really makes it difficult for a company, because they're trying to make their marginal cost equal their marginal revenue. Well, this just makes it even that much more difficult for a company to do that. Another factor that affects the price elasticity of demand is just the price of the item itself. These are large pieces of machinery, and so they require high dollar amounts. There's a lot of man hours that are put in these, and a lot of steel that goes in these, so they are going to be within the tens of thousands of dollars in price range. So that is going to be a large portion of a company's income. So that really creates an elastic demand, because even a small price change could be thousands of dollars, and that could really affect how a company is going to spend their money on these items. And then the final key is the time. A lot of companies are going to research these items before they make their purchases, so they know what they're getting into and know that they're getting the best item for the job they need. And their item is probably not a necessity within the next couple of days. So usually that'll make that elastic demand just increase even more. So companies have to be careful about changing their prices, because a big fluctuation in price change will really hurt them with an elastic demand in this economy, just because of the high price and the time that a company has to consider before they purchase a trailer. Now, the second item I want to look at is the long-term production function. Now, this in general will mostly be considered input substitution. But within that input substitution, there was three main areas that I really wanted to take a closer look at, and they include the improvements in technology, the price of the inputs, and the incentive that a company has to possibly use a new, different technology or a cheaper input just to lower their overall cost to maximize that profit. Now, with input substitution, the first one, the technology improvements. The production line, that technique that most manufacturers use, is a huge one that has been implemented in recent years. As we all know, Henry Ford started the assembly line. Well, this is kind of the idea of the production line, but just a little bit different. The production line usually will go more of a circular fashion, just because of the requirements of the trailers that are needed. They'll usually have to go from one area of the manufacturing plant back to the other, and even back around again, just because it's such a large product that there needs to be specific requirements put on it so they can be produced. So that has really improved the technology and just the efficiency overall of the manufacturing process. But a major player in the technology has been the introduction of plasma cutters. Back in the day, manufacturers would have to cut the piece of steel by hand, and that was very time-consuming and costly fashion. Now we have laser cutters, and even improving more, plasma cutters. These plasma cutters have increased the average production of the top 10 biggest companies over 20%. So that's a huge ability to improve your supply demand, and just increase your efficiency of your plant. It just shows how much more efficient a company is. And this has been the highest production in the 21st century here. So that's been a huge player in the overall input. And then there's definitely some skilled specialists, mostly welders, that companies are starting to use to help build their products and improve on them, so they're just becoming that more efficient and that much faster. The second thing to look at is the price of the inputs. Steel is going to be the main component of most of these trailers. Now, steel prices have fluctuated greatly in the last few years, and they've definitely been on the increase on the overall. So these increased steel prices have driven companies to look for possible alternatives, with aluminum becoming a popular model. The reason aluminum is so popular is because it is a lighter metal and it's been relatively cheaper than steel, but the lightness allows the consumer to haul more product. So this is maximizing their hauling capabilities. That is huge for a company to be able to allow their consumer to do more of their product just to increase that market share. And then finally, the incentive to the producer. Now, a lot of the companies are looking for an effective way to lower their costs and just maximize their profits. And some research I found did a lot of outsourcing. Now, the outsourcing part will be, a lot of companies will still manufacture the trailers at their company, but then the transportation costs that will come with it, they will outsource that to a professional transportation company. This is just to lower their overall cost, because it would definitely cost a manufacturer more money to actually transport their own good, as they would have to hire more employees for this purpose, and it would take away from their profit while they're doing this. And then the accessories that go on most trailers. As you can see in this picture, there's a tarp here going over this trailer. That it will probably be outsourced to a tarping company, just because to manufacture that in a steel manufacturing plant would just almost need another building and just be more overhead and be more fixed costs for the company. At this time, I'm going to pause the video. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll start with pricing strategies.